and let us all do we can to build a better future.
We here at Heartlands Media believe in being consistent in regards to talking about this election in 2024. Now, we will not on this show tell all of you how to vote. That is up to you. That is up to your own conclusion. Whether you want to vote Republican, fine. If you want to vote Democrat, fine. But you all know where I stand on it. Break away from the two-party system, support independent candidates, support third-party candidates, vote for citizen ballot initiatives. But this election cycle is, I'm not going to say the most important because it's not, but it's going to be of some historic significance, and a lot of people want to know what's going on. Now, when we covered the previous two election cycles, let's face it, the Democratic Party really showed us how corrupt it is. We now know how they act. We would be ignorant to say, oh, I'm surprised the Democrats have superdelegates. I'm surprised the Democrats can go behind closed doors and talk about who they want to be their nominee. But voters are not impressed with Joe Biden. Democratic voters, to be more specific. Let's face it, the Biden-Harris administration has dismal approval ratings. And right now, people want to see something different. They want to see a debate happen. They want to see if Joe Biden can actually handle a debate. We want to see Joe Biden speak, defend his record. Now, there are, as it stands right now, two candidates challenging him for the nomination. And look, no matter how you feel about them, they do deserve a chance to at least plead their case to voters. Now, I'm not going to vote Democrat, but I want to hear what Marianne Williamson and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. are going to say. I want to see the debate. And now there's a hashtag trending on Twitter called Force the Debate. Make it happen. And I got this video here from Case Study QB, and we got a couple of them where corporate media is discussing whether or not there should be a debate. Now, obviously, there's going to be the media lens from BSDNC and CNN saying, oh, Biden's doing just fine. But read through it. And I hate to bombard you with the propaganda of corporate media, but all of us need to see just why we need to abolish corporate media, because they're not giving us a real analysis. They're going to give us their perspective, and occasionally here and there, a broken clock can be right twice a day. But with that, let's go ahead and pull up this first video where Force the Debate is happening. Again, shout out to Case Study QB. He is wrongly being censored on Twitter. Hopefully that will change. Elon Musk, what's wrong with you? Fix this.
There are new questions today about whether President Biden should debate his 2024 Democratic primary challengers, even though they barely register in any polls. A new Axios focus group of 11 swing state voters in the key state of Georgia, all of whom voted for Trump in 2016, but Biden in 2020, found that everyone on the panel thought Biden should debate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. or any other prominent challenger. Now, yes, this group is a small sample, but they're hardly alone. There has been criticism of the Democratic National Committee for not planning any debates from within the party, including from former Obama cabinet member Julian Castro, who was on this program yesterday.
The DNC, have a lot of respect for him, like a lot of the people there. But then deciding that there will be no primary, no debate, I think they actually need to give Joe Biden a chance to get out there and to show the American people what he can do.
Joining us now, Axios political reporter Alexi McCammond and Alencia Johnson, a political strategist and senior advisor for Biden's 2020 campaign. Great to have both of you here.
Again, it cannot be ignored. Now, Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s approval rating amongst voters is, as I've said on the show, is steadily increasing. Now, I know that we have a lot of supporters of RFK Jr. who watch our show, and also we got people who are not going to vote third party, or not going to vote Democrat or Republican, who just, or either that will vote third party or not get involved in politics whatsoever. But the point of covering this is, once again, cementing down why the DNC must not be trusted as an institution. And to a lot of the RFK Jr. supporters out there, I would say, please be cautious. All right. Before you start handing in your hard-earned money and your time of canvassing, just remember what the DNC did to Bernie Sanders and his campaign. And I would really urge everyone that's a supporter of RFK Jr. or even Marianne Williamson, just how far are those two candidates willing to go? Because if we're going to be forcing a debate, What we also need to do is hold the candidates accountable. Is, will you follow through? Will you hold the DNC accountable for the election frauds and actions that it will do? Yes, the DNC has done it not once, but twice. We saw what happened to Bernie Sanders' campaign in 2016 and 2020. And to be very honest here, Bernie Sanders allowed that to happen. And to all the Marianne Williamson supporters and RFK Jr. supporters, I'm glad that you chose a camp to be in support of. But will your candidates also throw you under the bus? Don't put all of your investment and hope in these politicians. Really ask them, are they willing to go all the way to fight? That's just what I want to throw out there.
Here, Alexi, this is nothing new. Neither party has held primary debates when their incumbent is in the White House since the 70s. So this would be essentially a break with long tradition. So I'm very curious about what this focus group told you. Why did they think Biden needs to debate?
Yeah, and I appreciate you highlighting this, and obviously the usual caveats, right, that it's 11 voters. But in the past 4 focus groups we've done before this, too, the big thing that has come up is, frankly, Biden's age and how that's a problem with these voters who are more independent-minded and looking more toward the person rather than the party. A lot of them want to see him debate RFK Jr. or any other prominent Democratic challenger who might jump in, because they say they want him to prove his mental fitness for office, but not just him, that's anyone else on that stage. They also say that if other folks are running for the same party, they want to know what those policy differences are, what the policy similarities are.
Now, I wanted to bring up the age part. Look, when Biden gets out of office, if he gets out of office, if he wins his second term, he'll be 86 years old. I've seen my relatives, slowly go in decline when they reach their 80s, okay? Now, of course, they're still here and there, but as somebody who's witnessed people go through decline mentally and physically, Joe Biden exhibits everything that I've seen before. And for everyone watching, if you've seen an elder relative, go through the aging process, suffer from Alzheimer's, dementia, etc., you yourself also recognize the signs. And in this day and age, we need leaders who are sharp, aware of their surroundings, and are coherent enough to at least know what's going on, okay? And I'm just scraping at the bottom of the barrel of what we can expect, because right now, Trump and Biden, if this is the best we can do, then this nation is going to end up worse than Byzantium. Simple as that. There's something wrong with Joe Biden. And everyone in independent media is talking about, but it's just not only everyone in independent media. The American people see it. There's something wrong with Joe Biden. We don't want someone who's not all there. I mean, it was just a few days ago. And while it's a completely different political office, we saw Senator Dianne Feinstein get wheeled into the Senate. Half of her face looks paralyzed. These are our leaders. These are the people that are supposed to represent us. Madness. Force the debate.
These folks obviously voted for Biden in 2020. They're not really interested in having him run again this time. So they're looking to an alternative. And that's in part why they want to see him go up against someone like RFK Jr.
In fact, Valencia, let me read to you what Axios says as a quote from one of the voters. I want whoever is representing me as a president to be able to put together thoughts and cohesive arguments without needing flashcards or something. I mean, voters apparently do need convincing. There was a Yahoo poll this week, 65.
No. Voters don't need convincing about Biden. Everyone sees it. Everybody knows. You know that reference from Game of Thrones, from House of the Dragon, where the king says about his 3 grandchildren, where he's defending his daughter, who says that my daughter's children aren't legitimate. I mean, if you watched House of the Dragon, you know what I'm talking about. And then the king's son says, Father, everybody knows. Everybody knows in America. Everybody knows that there's something wrong with Joe Biden. Come on, corporate media. Be a little bit better. Everybody knows. Okay? It's that awkward dinner conversation where you finally have to come to terms. Hey, grandma and grandpa ain't all there anymore.
say they were at least somewhat concerned about the president's health and mental acuity. 44% said they were very concerned. So I ask you, should Team Biden reconsider?
I honestly do not think Team Biden should reconsider on the.
Oh God. This is how you know. This is how you know someone's lying. All right. Look, I don't think they should reconsider. Look at this
Debate piece, because to the point that you made earlier, we have not seen an incumbent president running for re-election having a debate with his major party opponents since the 1970s.
We've also, Valencia, to be fair, never had a president of this age, and we've never had a president with these kinds of questions.
Yeah, see, everyone's got to talk about it. Grandpa ain't all there. Duh. Come on. Let's not be stupid here. Everybody sees it. Hell, all of you watching, you see it too. Let's have democracy in the chat. Let's have democracy in the chat. Okay? A type 1, if you feel absolutely confident in having somebody of Biden's age as president of the United States, leader of the free world, that, you know, you have absolute confidence in them. A type 2, like, no, he is on mental decline. There's something wrong. We shouldn't have somebody of that age in an office of power like that. There are too many unknown variables. Come on, life is crazy enough as it is.
About his age and mental acuity.
Sure, and I think that's a fair question, and Biden has said it's a fair question, but the reality is debating people on the same side is actually not going to strengthen the candidate. It tends to weaken the candidate.
Well, then he needs to make his case, lady, in a debate. Come on, old man Biden. Show us you're still that spring chicken. God damn.
The president, let's be very honest, and we've talked about this on this show and over the past few years, he's actually done a lot for this country.
Done a lot? Hey, show of hands. All right, in class. All right, hey, class, show of hands. How many of y'all feel confident Biden's done a lot in this country? Oh, I see a lot of hands down. Gee, okay, we got inflation, trains are derailing. We've got homeowners losing their houses. We got people who are unable to pay rent. We got student debt. We got medical debt. Hell, we got medical bankruptcy. We got money for unending war. Oh, let's see, bailing out banks in Wall Street. Not one, but 3 banks failed a few months ago. And now there's talk about other banks failing. Politicians doing insider trading. Yeah, Biden's done a lot. Oh, how can I forget? Those kids are still in cages, by the way. Remember that? Remember that?
In the first 2 years and his first 100 days, right? Obviously, there are going to be a lot of holdups in Congress given the Republican majority right now. But he did have a very historic first 2 years. And so the president is going to prove some of these doubters wrong, get them to, restore their confidence in him that they did in 2020.
This is how you know someone's getting paid by the DNC. They gotta lie like this. Show us her face. I want to see how many times she's blinking. She's probably doing this a whole lot.
He continues to communicate these policies.
Let's face it. To shill for the DNC, you probably have some debt. You probably got some bills to pay, and so you gotta lie to the American people
and campaign across the country. The things that he cares about, the things that he is advocating for, are actually the things that people care about, from the economy, from gun control, from abortion rights.
What? Huh? What? Abortion right? Hold on, lady. She's a special kind of stupid.
The things that he is advocating for are actually the things that people care about, from the economy, from gun control, from abortion rights.
Huh? Gee. When did Roe v. Wade get overturned by the Supreme Court? Was it A, under Donald Trump's presidency, or B, under Biden's presidency? The answer is B. Hey, social justice warriors, activists, didn't you guys promise to flood the streets and protest nonstop if Roe v. Wade was ever, overruled, abolished? Yeah, I don't see you out there in the streets, lovelies.
Right. The list goes on. And so The reality is, I think the Democratic Party.
Mastermind Hour, you know what? Yeah, you're right. She forgot to update her cheat sheet. So enough from listening to this liar. Let's go ahead and listen a little bit more from corporate media. This one is from CNN. Again, forcing the debate. Force a debate against South case study QB who's wrongly being censored.
Georgia swing state voters say they want to see President Biden in a debate, but not with Donald Trump, but with Robert F. Kennedy Jr.? What's that about?
It's probably not a headline that Biden or his folks want to see or maybe even care about too much. But the most fascinating thing about these focus groups is that it always shows us exactly how these crucial voters who actually decide elections feel. Not only do they not want to see Trump nor Biden running for office, they said they'd like to see Biden face more Democratic challengers, and they think he should debate RFK Jr. or any other prominent Democrat who might jump in the race to challenge him. And that's because, frankly, they say
while she is on MSNBC, she has earned my respect. At least she's saying, like, yeah, this is what voters want. Now, look, again, don't trust anything from the Democratic Party. You're always going to be disappointed from the DNC. It is what it is when it comes down to the Democratic Party. Don't trust it. It's an institution that is designed for corruption through and through. But voters in the Democratic Party want something else. And I can't blame them. But the DNC is saying you're stuck with Biden.
They want whoever represents them to be able to prove their mental acuity, their fitness for office. Some folks said that they want someone who doesn't need to use flashcards or notes or a teleprompter to be able to talk to them and debate someone on a debate stage. Others said, well, if they're both running to represent the same party, then I would be interested to see where there are policy similarities, where there are policy differences. But the big thing is that Biden's age has become a real problem with these more independent-minded voters who once supported Trump in 2016, then went Biden in 2020, and are now looking more to the person than the party. That helps Biden because, yes, while his age might be an issue, these folks detest Trump, and they call his character disgusting. They were very unhappy with the verdict from the E. Jean Carroll case, unhappy because of what it says that he has done. And so there's no real scenario in which they say they'll take Donald Trump back. But if they're given an alternative, viable third-party option, all of the folks in this focus group said that they would pick that person over Biden or Trump.
Did you hear that? That's why I wanted to play that video, and I wanted to play it for that long, all right? So again, if given the choice, a strong, viable third-party candidate. Now, I don't know what lies in store for the Libertarian Party or Green Party. I mean, really, they should have been starting to build their infrastructure after the 2016 election cycle. But Americans want something else. This is evidence for third parties. Now, for all my fellow third party and independent voters out there, unfortunately, here in the United States, at the state and federal level, there are a lot of roadblocks preventing third parties from being on a debate stage. Hell, in some states, it is near impossible. And this is why we need to start building, again, movements and organizations not associated with the DNC or RNC, why we need to start fighting for citizen ballot initiatives, why we need to start, at least at the state level, calling for the abolishment of political parties, and giving the American people something that they've never had before, a real choice on who to represent them, not the establishment parties. Now, I understand that there are many people who are comfortable or being associated with groups, but let's look at the two-party system. Democratic voters, Republican voters, they have successfully brainwashed you in playing this pretend football game, Team Blue versus Team Red. But they're laughing at you while all of you are fighting. See, it's one big club and you ain't in it. The two-party system, do you want to know who their number one constituents are? Wall Street, the big banks, corporations, war profiteering, big pharma, the healthcare insurance industry, the prison industrial complex. It's money. You don't have a seat at the table. I'm so sorry to tell this to you.
Yeah, Trump is only a few years younger than Biden and hardly a picture of health, but yet the age issue seems to cling to the president far more.
Yeah, I had to add in that jag off of CNN at the end. Yeah. So that's the issue. Now, I want to pull up one last thing here, too. All right. And it's from our fantastic friends at Fox News, of all places. Again, shout out to Case Study QB. But again, there is a call for a force of debate, a conversation. So let's play this.
A new focus group revealing some swing voters in Georgia want President Biden to go toe-to-toe with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Shannon Bream, host of Fox News Sunday. How you doing, Shannon? Good morning to you on a Friday morning, as you would say. Friday, here we go. Now,
I would.
What's the chance that these two men are on a debate stage together?
I don't think it's very strong, but it is interesting because there are calls across the board coming for some kind of conversation about this. I mean, Axios talked to a group of Georgia swing voters about what they wanted to see and, you know, whether they would vote Democrat, where they would go. And they really want to see some kind of debate. One of the folks that they talked to in this focus group said, I want to know that whoever's going to be my president will be able to come up with coherent thoughts, no flashcards, no help. I want to see them debate. And
precisely. And when Fox News is calling it out, you know there's a problem.
so I want to see it happen on the primary stage. RFK Jr.'s name keeps coming up. Our polling just a couple of weeks ago showed that 19% of Democratic primary voters said that they would pick him over President Biden. So there's a hunger and a thirst there for this.
Shannon,
but I can't imagine the DNC allowing that.
Do you think that 19% comes from people who would have preferred Bernie Sanders to be their nominee the last time around?
Okay, so hold on. Again, we got to bring up the cuck Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders did inspire a lot of people to get involved in politics, but Bernie Sanders is also, in my opinion, the biggest political disappointment in U.S. history. This is a man who's probably afraid of his own shadow, or he's afraid of becoming the next Ralph Nader. He inspired millions of people to call out the two-party system. He inspired everybody to fight back, supposedly. But here's the thing. He didn't believe in his message. He didn't believe in his supporters. He didn't believe in the stuff he was spewing out of his mouth. He would have had follow-through if he actually really wanted to fight. But he chose not to. He chose not to fight. And that's on him. Now, I can't help it if he wants to be the village idiot. But again, there are a lot of people who are just not impressed with Biden. And I think maybe some of that group does make up some of those supporters for RFK Jr. But I think right now a lot of people have turned their backs to the Democratic Party because, again, people want a third choice, a fourth choice, a fifth choice on who to represent them.
Yeah, it's possible. And whether they actually, when it comes down to it, if we have a rematch of 2020, do they stay home or do they say, no, I'm going to go out and pick President Biden over President Trump? It's a good question. I don't know. But the fact that he showed up so strong, I think gave the White House a little bit of pause.
All right. There you go. And so looking at this system, looking at the two-party system for what it represents, I would say to all of my supporters who watch the show, everyone who tunes into Hardlens Media, look, it's up to you to come up to your own conclusions on who you want to vote for. The Democratic Party has made it very clear. They want to control the narrative. They want to control what you see and hear, what to think, what to feel. And so far, nothing is fundamentally changing. Force the debate. So I want to ask you, the viewing audience, would you be invested in watching a debate between Biden, RFK Jr., and Marianne Williamson? Type 3 if yes, force a debate. I want to see a debate. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to be voting in the Democratic primary, but that you want to see the debate. Type 3 that you want to see the debate. Type 4 if it doesn't matter. I trust Biden. No debates whatsoever. The American people don't need a debate. No debates. No debates. No debates. We don't want to see that happen. So put in your feedback here. But again, Biden's age is being called into question, and the Democrats, and vote blue no matter who, don't be overconfident in Biden because that ship is sinking.